Next, it's everyone's favorite video game discussion show. An all-new GameView starts right now.
Hey guys, welcome to GameView for August 2018. I'm Scott.
And I'm Roxie.
And we are back after a bit of a hiatus, but we have a lot to talk about tonight, so we are going to jump into it. We're going to kick things off with a quick E3 recap. Sound good to you, Roxie?
Sounds fine by me. We sort of had to take a bit of a break, but I think coming back with a good old E3 recap ought to be just fine.
Alright, perfect. Okay, so let's start off with, I guess, what took up most of Nintendo's E3 presentation. We're going to talk about this a little bit now, and we'll get into a lot more detail afterwards. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
I am a lot more excited than initially was for Smash Bros. Ultimate. They showed off a lot of really cool stuff at E3. They showed off a lot of neat stuff. And I was interested in it. And then what they showed recently throughout this past month was, I think, really the hooker for me. Smash Bros. Ultimate is going to be really fun. And I think it's going to be a huge Nintendo Switch system seller.
It's kind of crazy because I'm not the biggest Smash fan, but with all the information that's been coming out on this game over the last, I want to say, 3 months, it's really giving me the impression that they are going overboard with what they're throwing into this. When I saw the trailers where they were talking about over 900 different music tracks, with over 100 stages, throwing in like all of these characters from every iteration of Smash ever since the first one on the N64. I don't know if this is going to be the last Smash game, I doubt it, but I mean, how large is this? Like, it's got to be, what, at least like 10 gigs, maybe 15?
I know for sure that the Smash Bros. For Wii U is like, I think 12-ish gigs, including all the updates and whatnot. So Smash Bros. Ultimate is going to be really huge. If you have a Switch and haven't picked up a very, very big micro SD card for storage, you're definitely going to want to get one for Smash, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm just surprised, because, like, I know Nintendo's pretty good with their compression ratios and all that, but, I mean, just based off of what we're seeing alone, in the trailers, I mean, if the Wii U variant was like 12 gigs, I mean, this has got to be at least double that, I would think, so...
And to be told that we're going to be seeing more stuff up to the game's release, that's just phenomenal.
I think I am going to agree with you 100% on this one here. It is going to be a system seller, just like anyone who is a huge fan of Super Mario. I'm sure they picked up Odyssey on day one. Same thing with Zelda and Breath of the Wild. The Smash community is probably going insane right about now.
Oh, yeah. Especially with how Smash went at EVO this past month. 2 months, maybe? I'm not sure. Smash Ultimate's going to be a big, big breath of fresh air.
Okay, sounds good. Alright, so continuing on with our recap, and like I said, we'll get back to Smash later on. I can't even talk right now, apparently. One title that I'm just going to briefly mention that we're not going to talk about tonight for obvious reasons, but I will talk about it in a separate GameView segment, is the Pokemon Let's Go titles. Just a quick reminder, those are coming out November 16th, I believe. Both the Pikachu and the Eevee versions with their Pokeball bundle accessories as well. Continuing on, next topic, Fortnite.
It's a game. It is a very popular game. It is out on Switch, and I know a lot of popular games that get popular really quick get a bad rep, and that's completely fair, because popular games that get a rep really quickly usually end up getting a bad rep. I played it for a little bit on my Switch, and it's kind of fun. It's not a game that, you're going to be playing constantly on a Switch, but having the option it's pretty nice.
Okay, so just to clarify for people who have no clue what it is, like myself for the most part, it is a free-to-play game that is cloud-based, is that right?
I think it's cloud-based. I'm not 100% sure, but it is definitely free-to-play.
Okay.
The only thing you'll be using money for is, like, a bunch of cosmetics.
Alright. Okay, so if you guys want to check it out, it is available now on the Nintendo Switch's eShop section. Like we said, it's free, so give it a shot, and who knows, if you like it, then you'll be opening up pretty frequently, especially with the updates that are constantly pouring out for it. Next up on the recap list here, a game that did release back in June, Mario Tennis Aces from Camelot.
Did you play the demo?
I did.
It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Surprisingly, for a tennis game.
It threw me off, because up until now, I have never played a Mario Tennis game, and the only reason I played Aces, or I even got into Aces, was because of the free demo. But I do have to say, every time I hit the ball back and I broke one of my opponent's rackets, it was like a surge of adrenaline, let me tell you.
And the cool thing, not a lot of people talked about it, but if you played the GameCube Mario Tennis game and you loved it, you'll love Tennis Aces, first of all. But if you have a GameCube adapter already and you plugged it into your Switch, you could totally play Tennis Aces with your GameCube controller. And not a lot of people talked about it, but I thought that was a pretty neat thing. I'm going to go on and briefly mention, if you live in the US, there is a Mario Tennis Aces Switch bundle that comes with 1-2 Switch for $359 USD, which is a pretty good deal. 2 Switch games for, $30 pop, plus a Switch. And I haven't been able to pick up Tennis Aces, but as soon as Christmas hits, that's definitely going to be on one of my games to pick up, because it is... When I played the demo, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of rage, admittedly, but I had a lot of fun. It was surprisingly not as bare bones as I thought it was going to be.
After I played it, first thing I learned was I absolutely hate Chain Chomp. But after that, I was surprised too, because, again, not a huge sports fan myself, but, after what I heard Camelot did with Ultra Smash on the Wii U, and how everyone was complaining of what kind of a disaster that game was for the Mario Tennis franchise, to see them sort of take a step back, revisit the GameCube era in a sense where they're focused on the game itself, the technicalities, just making it more so to the liking of the fans, just like what we're seeing with Zelda and Odyssey and Smash and the other first-party titles here. I guess it does prove the point that even though a company can get off the rails sometimes when it comes to a particular franchise, that doesn't mean they're completely out of the loop. They can always do a complete 180 and come out with something like Aces, which is pretty awesome.
And I think Mario Tennis Aces and how Camelot dealt with it, I think a lot of other developers need to keep their eyes open on that, because just from the demo alone, and I have seen footage of the actual game itself, just from what I've seen and personally played, Mario Tennis Stasis is like the game to look at if you want to see how to fix your mistakes in the last title you made. You go back, you look at what made your games good and what made people like them, and you advance on those ideas instead of trying to do something bare bones and hand-holding. Take note, developers of Paper Mario. Take note.
Exactly. And it goes back to the point I was making many, many months ago, too, right? It's, I mean, I don't want to reiterate all of this, because I know we're way past the Wii U era, but can you imagine if, when the Wii U first came out, if we had Breath of the Wild as a launch title, if we had Odyssey as a launch title, if we had games like Tennis Aces instead of the disaster that was Ultra Smash, just think of how many more people would have actually bought a Wii U, and maybe we'd still be talking about Wii U games right now, right?
The Wii U definitely suffered from, like, really poor launch titles. And that's a shame, because the Wii U was undermarketed, undersold, and underpowered. But, despite all that, it's still a really good console.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a bit dipping into the gray area, but if you have the ability to mod your Wii U, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. And you should totally do it, because why not? You get to play GameCube games on it without having to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole.
Alrighty. Okay. So, moving on, our next recap point here, a game that I know you were really into when it first came out, but then you sold it. The Splatoon 2 Octo expansion.
Oh, man. Pardon my French. But Octo expansion, just watching it, made selling my copy of Splatoon 2 come around and bite me in the ass. I regretted selling that game so much after seeing all the footage for Octo expansion, because I saw it and I saw the gameplay stuff that Alpha Rat did, and it was just so good. And I really hate that I haven't been able to play it personally yet. Oh, it was really good.
I must admit, I was surprised when they released the details of it initially, and I saw how large of an expansion it was. I mean, when you think of Splatoon, you think of mainly multiplayer, right? And the fact that they came out with this huge, expansive single-player campaign, and this was like a year after releasing the game, it really shows you how they wanted to, you know, continue to push that support into the long run for it.
Not to get into any kind of big spoilers for the Octo expansion in case you still haven't seen anything from it, but Pearl does a little bit of swearing. It's censored, but it's there. And I think that's pretty cool that Nintendo is gradually pushing the envelope when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because swearing has become so ingrained in the sort of like young adult and elder teenager type gamer, and obviously in older adults it's definitely ingrained, but Nintendo's always been for like, oh, we gotta be family friendly, but now they're starting to give people more of a combined culture in their games, I guess it would be. I guess it could be said like that, where I know you mentioned in that Mario and Rabbids game, there was swearing in that, but it was totally censored. It's light, but one guy says damn in Breath of the Wild, and then the stuff with Pearl and Octo expansion, it's getting to a point where I think Nintendo will eventually become comfortable enough making their own first-party game without all the censorship.
It's possible. I think it also goes towards the market of the Switch as well, because they're kind of realizing, especially with all of these games, the first parties that have been coming out over the last year and a half, they're realizing that the market for the Switch, it's not just the casual, 8-year-old gamer that's, too young to understand most of this stuff, but, I mean, it's also the older teenager and the older 20 and 30-year-olds that want to go back to Nintendo because of the nostalgia, and when you team that up with games, R-rated games like Doom and, I think there were a couple others too,
Wolfenstein 2,
yeah.
Diablo.
Yeah, when you start teaming up your console with, mature rated games like those, I think they're starting to understand who, they're really catering to, as opposed to, let's say, like the Wii era, which was aimed at, like, a casual crowd type audience.
And if you look at all their commercials that they've been putting out for all these different games, they've slowly stopped using children actors. They've started adding in more and more like teenage and young adults in their trailers and commercials, showing that, hey, we recognize that it's not just kids and family-friendly stuff that is our audience now. It is adults who have everyday lives.
I don't know if Doug, I'm talking about Doug Bowser, the guy who's doing the marketing at Nintendo, just did a complete 180 with his mindset, but so far I do like where he's headed with it, because I agree with you there, Roxy. I mean, so far, they do know what type of person is buying into the Switch, and at least from the commercials and the promos and the types of games that are coming out, they're understanding, hey, we have to start, ramping up who are actually expecting to buy these games, instead of just, going for, like, young people only and just leaving out the hardcore players, in a sense.
And I guess it should be said that Nintendo's been, ever since the 3DS era, they've been willing to push, like, the envelope when it comes to swearing, but that was only with games like Fire Emblem, where that level of swearing existed. And even then, it was only, like, light things like damn and bastard. It wasn't, like, to an aggressive level, which I don't think Nintendo will go to that aggressive level with a first-party game without it being censored, but I do see them using it slowly more in their regular first-party games, in their just normal dialect, or in more tense situations. Like, I know in Fire Emblem Three Houses, there's going to be probably a bit more swearing than what was in Awakening, because I think it was basically non-existent in Fates.
I think so. I mean, this is going back 2 years ago, so I don't quite remember my full playthrough of Fates, but,
I recently replayed through, I recently played Birthright and Revelations.
Okay. Well, I guess that's a great segue into our next recap here. So, I know you brought up Fire Emblem Three Houses. We got a trailer, not a whole lot of information associated with it, but what's your take on it?
We got a sizable amount of information, though. It may not have been a lot, but there was a lot more than I expected. Because I think I don't know if it was directly shown after the Direct, but I know there was more shown. There was like more shown here and there, but I don't know if there was like a full segment for it. We were told about Eldegard, which if you just glance at it, looks like Edgelord, who's the main female narrator, I guess. There was a lot shown, and I'm kind of excited. There's also I guess, three houses, three main characters, Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. Or Cloud, both, one or the other. I watched all the gameplay for it, and it looked really awesome. It wasn't what I was used to, because I was used to Awakening and Fates, and so it's very, very interesting, and I'm super excited for it. And I can't wait to see more from it, because it seems like they're trying to push away from the waifu simulator that we got in Fates, and the, I don't know, the kind of okay, decent characters and plots that we had in Awakening.
I don't know if they're gonna completely remove all of those features. Like, I would assume they would still incorporate some of them. But I think the main question that comes to my mind is, if they're titling it 3 Houses, does that mean we're gonna get, like, 3 separate versions, like with Fates? You know, we're getting, like, each house in its own main storyline, and then you have, like, a 3rd version as DLC again that ties everything together.
While I could see them doing that, I don't think they are. If the title is just 3 Houses, I think it's just going to be one big long game. Because there wasn't anything in the trailer that sort of hinted to the 3 separate games, whereas for, like, Fates, we knew from the beginning that there was going to be 2 separate versions. So I think this is just going to be one big long game, and that's why we hadn't seen anything until now.
I guess it makes sense in a way, especially because of the fact that they had to delay it, right? I mean, originally it was going to come out by the end of this year, but considering how long it's taken them to develop this home console title, I would at least hope for a sizable amount of content based on this.
Oh yeah, and given given Echoes and how they're working on Heroes, I think that they're going to be willing to go hard on the main story, because Heroes has been getting, update after update, which is really nice, but it's becoming stagnated with alts and alts and alts, which, that's just a gacha game, but it's still getting, like, regular updates. And so I think IS is showing that they're, with how they worked on 3 Houses, that they're willing to go hard and go ham on their home console while keeping the mobile game as a sort of, like, backup. Because, for sure, since, they've got Heroes going, and Heroes, even as a plot, still isn't finished, there's going to be a major, like, in-game event involving, or a major summon thing with Heroes and 3 Houses. There's no way there's not gonna be.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. Okay, so I think that covers that. Just as a bit of a quick plug here, don't forget, everyone, that we are still working on 3 Houses, coming to TOONDISE early next year in the spring. So, yeah, that's still going on, and we will have that out as a brand new series, so you can look forward to that. So, next up on the recap list, a game that neither of us are really interested in, so this will probably be pretty brief. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and the DLC Torna the Golden Country.
I don't care. It's Xenoblade Chronicles. I just don't care. The DLC looked interesting, and then I remembered, oh wait, it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That means the gameplay is going to be really boring and it's going to suck. Well, suck is very, very objective. I just don't like Xenoblade's gameplay at all.
I think it's a prequel to the main story. Other than that, the only thing I know is that it's coming out September 21st, and I will not be buying it, because I'm not a huge Xenoblade fan. But other than that, anything else you want to say on this one?
Meh. If you enjoy it, and you enjoy bashing on characters like Camilla from Fire Emblem, but enjoy, like, characters like Pyra and Mithra, then, I don't care about you.
Enough said. Next on the list, Daemon X Machina.
I am excited for this game. I had a really big change of meh to I'm excited for this game. It looks like fun. I've never been interested in mecha games. And then they showed this, and I was just like, I want this. I want to play this. This looks like a game that I want on my Switch. It looks fun.
What changed your mind?
The graphics, the way that the combat looked, the way that everything looked, and the way the music sounded was rocking. Like, the trailer was just really good, and it hooked me then and there. And, like I said, I'm not a big fan of mecha games. I don't like mechs. I'm not a big fan of mecha stuff. But this, Diamond X Machina, it looks interesting. I don't know what it is, but something about it is just hooking to me.
If you say so. I mean, when I looked at the trailer there, I mean, the only thing that really caught my eye was, I think, one of the enemies that you were fighting against sort of kind of looked like a guardian. Just the way it was designed, I guess. But other than that, the only thing that I know about it is that one of the guys, I think it was Kozaki, who worked on Fire Emblem Awakening and Fates, he was also involved in the character designs for this Machina game.
I mean, I wouldn't know about that, but I do know that the game just looks fun. The graphics look fun, the characters look fun, the machines look fun. It looks like fun to me. I've never been interested in wanting to, like, actually get in one of these things and just blow stuff up until now.
Alrighty then. Okay, so that's coming out in 2019. Something that's coming out later this year, though, Starlink Battle for Atlas.
I think I sort of zoned out when I saw that. I don't remember much of it.
Surprisingly, it's another title from Ubisoft, where I guess you're flying around the solar system shooting at things. The only main thing of note that I got out of it was that you could play with Star Fox's R-Wing, and I think Peppy is in it too, though I'm not sure.
Yeah, I remember what this is now. It's the it's basically Star Force, or Star Fox, but without the Star Fox like logo on it. You're playing as a ship, shooting stuff on planets in space, and there is a Star Fox Easter egg.
Well, it has to be better than Star Fox Zero, so I will give it credit on that part.
I think everything has to be better than Star Fox Zero.
Oh, God. Alright. So Starlink is coming out on October 16th, and I guess the only other thing I wanted to mention, something that I was a little bit weirded out by was when they were talking about attaching like that small R-Wing figurine to the Pro controller. It looked a little weird.
I don't know. Like I said, I really think I zoned out.
Yeah. Anyways, if you're into it, feel free to check it out, and yeah, it'll be out before Halloween. So next on the list is a game that really was, I guess we're not too surprised that it's coming out. I mean, obviously we didn't know about it. It was sort of revealed at E3, just out of the blue, but Super Mario Party.
This better be Nintendo's atonement for the past Mario Party games we've gotten. It better be. I'm just saying, if Super Mario Party fails, that I can say that will be the definitive end to Super Mario Party. Like, as a whole, if it fails, that's the end. I'm interested in it, but at the same time I'm very skeptical because Mario Party, the top 100, there was a lot more that needed to be done with it. The minigames needed to be... They should have asked... Instead of saying the top 100, they should have asked the fans in like a huge survey what their top 100 was. And then pick from there. Like the top choices. That's what they should have done. They didn't do that. There was no online. It was really meh. And then the one on the Wii U, it was a car. It was a car. It was a car. You didn't have a character. You had a car. So Super Mario Party does get away with that. It does get rid of all of that from the 3DS and the Wii U. But it better have that charm of the Mario Party games that made the series.
I think it will. This is one of those titles where, again, it goes back to what we were saying before, with Nintendo starting to listen to the fans and other companies like Camelot going back to earlier designs, like with the Mario Tennis franchise. A couple things that we know about Super Mario Party. It's essentially going back to the original concept, right? I mean, you've got the board, you've got each player moving around the board, taking turns, searching for stars. You do have online play, which is a first for the Mario Party series. And just at least from what I've seen, it's around 80 new mini-games, and the way they're marketing it, again, it feels like this goes back to the basics, and I think that's what a lot of people wanted, especially after, again, Mario Party 10 on the Wii U, which clearly failed.
Yep. I want Super Mario Party to be good. I really do, because I know a lot of people are excited for Mario Party. This is gonna be sad, never played Mario Party, ever, in my life. Never, ever, ever. So, if they include online, that'll be awesome. I would love to be able to play Super Mario Party with friends, either at parties, or with my online friends. I would love to be able to do that. But if Nintendo passes up these opportunities that they should be taking, it's gonna fall really, really, really hard.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on this one. I've got a good feeling about it, though. I mean, especially the fact that they've titled it Super Mario Party instead of, like, Mario Party 11. Almost in a sense like they're rebooting the franchise and they want to distance themselves away from the more recent titles, which people have not really been a fan of. So we'll see how this goes. Remember, it's coming out Friday, October 5th, and preload starts in a couple weeks, so keep your eyes peeled for this one. Next up, a game that, again, I just have no interest in playing, but for some reason it always seems to be on the top digital sales list of the Switch. Overcooked 2.
Why is it 2? Where was the first one? When did the first one come out? I don't get it.
I don't even remember. It's like the first one came out, I think, like several months earlier, and I don't know what the big deal was with it. I mean, you're running around a kitchen trying to mix and match different kitchen dishes, and somehow it's gained a following out of that, and then they had to rush out a second version this quickly. I mean,
I don't understand. Who wanted this? Why? Is it that good? Explain to me these secrets. Please. I want to know why this is good. I want to know why it merited a sequel when the first one was so forgettable that people forgot it existed until the second one came out.
I just want to know where they came up with the name Onion Kingdom.
You got a kingdom, you got an onion. Let's make a kingdom out of it. There's nothing but onions. Everyone cries. The end. It's a depressing kingdom.
Anyways, Overcooked 2 is currently out on the Switch, if you do want to buy it. Next on the recap list, Killer Queen Black.
I keep wanting to read and say it as Killer Queen Bee, and that's because I'm degenerate trash.
Again, just another title that I don't know much about. It looks like an older 1980s game in terms of the graphics, and it's coming this winter.
Maybe some people will enjoy it. It sort of has like that... you wouldn't know about it, but others might. That like Nidhogg style game mixed with like Nidhogg and Duck Game mixed together. That's what this game makes me think of.
Alrighty. Okay, after that, we have, I guess, one title which you, well, I guess you're, in a sense, sort of a fan of, Dragon Ball FighterZ?
Yeah, I've got that on PC, and it's a fun game. It's a 2D fighting style game, or 2.5D fighting style game, sort of like the recent Street Fighters and Tekkens and Mortal Kombat. And it's a really good game if you love fighting games that aren't in the style like Smash. If you love a more traditional fighting style game, Fighter Z coming to Switch. I don't know if it comes with all the DLC that's been out. It might. There will be online for it. You can use one Joy-Con for tabletop fights, or you can use them. You can use them both. But yeah, I would, if you're interested in Dragon Ball fighting games and you don't have a strong enough computer to play it and you have a Switch, get it on Switch. It's gotta be better than the Xenoverse 2 port, because this game is like saying, 60 FPS, it'll be, it should be fun. High-end anime graphics, Arc System, they're pretty good at their games. Their latest, whatever the Persona crossover fighting game is, that one kind of flopped because of how they wanted to deal with their roster, but Fighter Z is a different beast. So don't judge it on, that game. Judge it on, like, the 2.5D fighting style, the gameplay, and how everything feels.
Alright. A little off topic, but when you say Arc System, what do you think comes to mind?
I swear, if you're making a Yu-Gi-Oh reference, I'm going to be disappointed in you, because it took me a few moments to recognize Yu-Gi-Oh.
Gosh dang it, Roxie.
I know Arc System as the company, and I don't recognize it as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V thing.
Disappointed. Disappointed. Alright, that comes out later in the year. Next up, a game that I guess I'll be talking about later on tonight, Octopath Traveler.
I'm interested in it, but I've just been lazy. I haven't tried out the demo that's still on the eShop. I know I should. A lot of friends, Scott included, have been saying that Octopath is a really good game, and it's a really good RPG. I've seen little screenshots here and there. It looks fun. I would say if you have if you got that sweet tooth for RPGs, to pick it up.
Yeah, I can't quite put it down on my end. I've been playing it a lot recently. Like I said, I'll get into this a little bit more in depth later on tonight. But yeah, so far I am impressed by Square's latest turn-based adventure. Next up on the recap list, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate.
If you like Monster Hunter and you got a Switch, you have no reason to get it up unless you're playing every version of Monster Hunter World that's not the PC version.
Alright, yeah, I've never played a Monster Hunter game before, probably won't start with this one either, but preload currently available, and release date is, well, actually, it was just a few days ago, August 28th, so, anyways,
I do believe that a free demo is still on the eShop for Generations Ultimate, so if you're interested in it, if you like it, but you're not... If you like what you saw from the trailers, but haven't played it, no reason not to give the demo a shot.
Alright, sounds good. Okay, next up, another free-to-play, I guess, cloud-based game, Paladins.
Ever play Overwatch or TF2? This is Overwatch, but free, and it's also not TF2.
Okay then, I think that sums it up.
That's pretty much what it is. It's Overwatch took stuff from TF2. That's why people make jokes about Overwatch being a TF2 ripoff. But Paladins took that a step further and ripped off blatant characters from Overwatch. So, yeah, it's there if you want to play it. You've got modes like Payload, Escort, Hybrid in a sort of capture the point, then escort, and then you got King of the Hill. And I don't know what else has been added. I just know that when it initially came out, it was literally Overwatch but free. And worse.
Alright then. It is currently available, so if you want to try it out, you can download it on your Switches as of today. And yeah, it came out a few months ago, in fact. So next up for discussion, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Donkey Kong DLC.
That's up to you to talk about, homeboy. You're the one that likes Mario Rabbids.
I guess, yeah, I guess I'll delve into it a little bit here. Again, I mean, this is one of those weird franchises. I initially did not want to pick up the main game when it released last year, but ultimately I did, and between that and the Donkey Kong DLC, I have over 120 hours of gameplay time into this particular game. Again, I just want to stress this, it's not a replacement for Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi, but as far as a turn-based Mario game, it's the next greatest thing. I love the way it's designed. I played through both the main campaign mode, I played through the Donkey Kong adventure, I got all the treasure chests, I unlocked all the weapons, completed all the ultimate challenges, and, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest selling point was the Donkey Kong DLC is the pricing, because you're essentially paying half the price for the DLC that you would pay for the main game itself, but you're also getting like half the content of what was included in the main game. So if you love the original game that came out last year, I would say pick this one up.
So you 100% completed Mario and Rabbids then?
Yep, I did, and I actually completed it within a week, which was kind of disappointing because I waited like 4 months between when I finished the original game back in March and when I actually picked up the DLC after it was released. But yeah, even though I finished it that quickly, I was not disappointed at all.
So you're pro Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle player at this point, right?
I would probably say so.
Could we expect to see you at, like, tournaments for Mario and Kingdom Rabbids Battle? I said that so wrong, didn't I?
Yeah, you pretty much did. But anyways, I don't know if they would ever have, like, an actual tournament for this game, but if they did, I would not hesitate to actually jump in, because hey, when they came out, like, one of the ultimate challenges in the Donkey Kong adventure, I think it was Ultimate Challenge number 3, it literally took me 2.5 hours to beat it. because of how many enemies kept spawning and the fact you have to keep destroying, like, all of these banana patches. And I almost died, like, 3 or 4 times, but I was hardcore focused into this game, and somehow I managed to survive, and I 100% completed it, so it takes a lot to get me to 100% a game.
A round of applause to you, then.
Thanks. Alright, so the DLC is available right now. You can buy it individually if you want to save some money, or you can get it as part of the Season Pass as well. But in either case, I would say if you did like the main game, pick it up, and who knows, I don't know if we'll see further DLC for this. Maybe next year, I doubt it. I'd rather they focus their efforts on a sequel if they are going to continue with this franchise, but yeah, it's available now, so pick it up if you like it. And last up, before we start talking about the in-depth stuff, Hollow Knight.
I haven't personally played it, but from the friends that are in my little Discord group who have played it, they've enjoyed it. They've played it time and time again, and they love it. And recently, it's been getting free updates for DLC that they've all said are really good, and they love the challenging style of it. They love just everything about it. It looks fun. I've not seen a whole lot. I've seen little bits here and there, but it does seem really interesting.
Yeah, it's one that sort of piqued my interest. I don't know if I'll actually pay to buy it, but it's one of those classic side-scrollers. So, yeah, if you're into that thing, all the more power to you.
Yep. I really just don't have a lot to say about it.
Okay, and I don't either. So, Hollow Knight currently available, so if you like this type of thing, by all means, go ahead, buy it, download it, and give it a shot. Alright, so that pretty much recaps E3. Now we are going to talk about a lot of other stuff, as if we haven't already bored you guys to death as of yet. So, getting into the in-depth conversations. First topic of the night. Guess what it is? It is Smash.
Oh boy. The Nintendo Direct that we had for Smash Bros. Was insane. It was great. We were met with brand new characters and Echo Fighters. There was one character that got added that really tripped me out. The trailer for it was beyond funny. You can find my reaction to it over on my channel at the Chester's Room, and I was floored by what happened. We had the additions of it. Are you a fan of Castlevania, Scott?
I haven't really played any games. I've heard of it, though.
I haven't either, but I have a lot of friends who they definitely enjoy the Castlevania series. And so the Direct started off with giving us Luigi going through this little spooky castle mansion thing. And it was all spooky, and then all of a sudden, he's dead. Luigi dies. His soul is ripped out of his body. And we are met with Simon Belmont, the one of the newest characters added to Smash. He has been the main face of Castlevania for years, and it was really cool how they introduced him. And they introduced his stage, which is like the darkest stage in Smash Bros. History. It's really cool. And then they added in Richter, which a lot of people were surprised about as his Echo Fighter, as not a lot of people really expected him. And most people, even some diehard Castlevania fans, were like, Richter? Question mark? And so it was really cool. And then they showed off like the differences between them, like how Richter's stuff is blue compared to Simon's normal stuff. They showed off his whip and the Holy Cross and everything. It was really cool. Simon's reveal trailer was really, really cool. And Nintendo has shown that with Smash Bros, they are more than willing to kill off their main characters for a reveal trailer, as seen with Mario, Mega Man, and now Luigi, as they are all completely dead. Except Nintendo comes out a couple hours later and says, no, they're just fine.
How mad were you when you saw Luigi get killed like that?
I was hurt. My heart was broken because my boy Luigi was just killed. That was some disrespect. It hurt.
I guess the Poltergust just couldn't stand up to it.
The Poltergust could not stand up to real demons. And in that trailer, they showed off how we'll have Alucard as a assist trophy, and we'll have Dracula as a stage boss, and it's just really cool how the Castlevania stage looks. And it was unfortunate that somebody at Nintendo had messed up releasing one of the Castlevania songs the day before the Direct started, so we sort of like were able to speculate, oh, well, we're gonna get Simon Belmont. It was unfortunate, but what we didn't expect that we were really happy about, well, some people expected it because they paid attention to Robin's trailer, is getting Chrom as an Echo Fighter, because Chrom was done dirty in Super Smash Bros. 4. He really was. But now we get to play him as an Echo Fighter of Roy, which is very interesting because Chrom has the Aether as his upbeat. So it's really interesting how these Echo Fighters are actually going to differ compared to their regular fighters. And we also got Dark Samus, who is a really cool Echo Fighter as well. She can hover instead of just walk. She sort of floats whenever she moves. That's really cool. We were shown 103 stages, which is phenomenal. There's a Battlefield variant of every stage, and there's a Final Destination version of every single stage. And it's just so cool. And then we've got all the music tracks. Scott had mentioned this earlier. Over 900 music tracks in this game. It's just phenomenal. And then to end the Direct, we were met with another character reveal where it fades to this old CRT TV that Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are watching. They cut it off because their house is shaking. They look out the window. They are met with a silhouette of King K. Rool, only to find out it is King DDD. Then DDD gets promptly thrown into the void as the big boy, King K. Rool, comes on screen and starts messing everything up. And it was really cool. King DDD, by far, has had the best introduction to Smash ever. And if this is going to be a norm for Nintendo, and for Sakurai, and all of HAL, and for everyone who's worked on Smash Ultimate, I really hope they can just up the ante. I want to see more of this, because it's going to be so much fun to see all of this. They did show the main screen, and they showed how you could use your Switch as a glorified MP3 player to listen to all of the songs in Smash Ultimate, and they showed off how you can get to everything through like a sidebar, and they had a part of the menu censored. And now a lot of people have been saying that it is something called a spirits mode, and I'm not too sure about that. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not trusting any sort of leaks or anything involving Smash, because a lot of it is just pure speculation and pure, oh, I want this, so I'm going to say it's a leak. And I just don't trust any of it. And you should always take anything said about Smash leaks with a major grain of salt. But originally I wasn't too interested, but the E3 presentation and the Nintendo Direct we got, that really hooked me, because it's phenomenal, and the amount of work that Sakurai and the dev team are putting into this game is just amazing. Yeah.
It's really insane. I mean, going back to the E3 presentation, I mean, back then I thought to myself, okay, well, I mean, obviously they're making this the main focus, and they're getting into the technicalities of, like, every single frame and the different abilities that have been changed and all that. So really focused on talking to the technical, hardcore Smash player, and I guess that's what the Direct was all about. But now I can understand why, because they are literally going all out in terms of creating, like, the most extensive Smash game that's ever existed. Not only just appealing to the hardcore players, but the nostalgia group too, right? I mean, when you're including stages from the N64 game, from Melee, when you're including all of the characters, when you're including all of the music tracks. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to use their Switch as an MP3 player, but I can tell you, just as an example, for myself, the number of video games where I've actually gone on YouTube and had to download the MP3 file of the music track itself for that game because I wanted to listen to it. Just having all of those tracks included by default in the game, and you can, pick any one of them you want. If you want to have a particular fight on a stage, you can choose which track you want to play in the background as well. I mean, they've included so much content into this game that it makes it more than worth the $60 price tag. And I don't even know if they're going to release even additional DLC down the road, but I mean, this has got to be a Smash gamer's dream.
And it's going to be unfortunate too, because there's still going to be people who whine and complain and send death threats because their favorite character didn't get added, or such and such character wasn't added as a playable character. Where, like, take Waluigi, for example. He's an assist trophy. He is, technically speaking, in Smash Ultimate, just not playable. But people are still pissy and whiny because he's not playable. Never mind the fact that Mario characters across the board are in the game. Never mind the fact that he's in there. He could have very well just been removed. And it's just, people need to learn how to take a break. At least he's being repped in some sort of way. Shovel Knight, for example. Shovel Knight very well could have not made it into Smash. But he is currently in there as a rep for his game as an assist trophy, which is still phenomenal. And it's just, people need to learn how to appreciate what they're given. If they want to be upset that a certain character wasn't added, sure, that's fine. But to have it be as baseless as, this character is a meme, I want him there, make it happen, and then send like death threats that it doesn't happen, that's just pathetic. And everyone who's done it, and everyone who's allowed that type of behavior, they don't deserve Smash Ultimate. And really, with the amount of love that the devs are putting into this, it's just amazing. And it's something that, like, I feel like a lot of gamers these days are taking for granted with, their favorite games. That, like, they put in so much work, and you can tell. And it's completely shat on because one thing isn't there, even though it is there. Just not how they wanted.
I don't want to go through the entire gamers are entitled debate all over again here, but if you are stuck on complaining about, you know, that one particular character that's missing, or that one particular feature that you really wanted in the game but isn't, just take a step back and appreciate the fact that the people creating the game, like Sakurai, at least they're passionate enough, and you can see the amount of time and effort and love that they've actually put into the game. I mean, the passion really speaks out when you see the amount of effort that was put to bring all of this together in a relatively short time frame. I mean, if you're complaining about something as minuscule as that, I think you've got bigger problems. I mean, at least you're not in a situation where they've taken a game that you've loved and absolutely wrecked it. Cough, Paper Mario. Cough.
Cough, Sonic. Cough, Paper Mario. Cough, I hate saying it, but Pokemon in a way. Cough, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cough, Metal Gear. Cough, a lot of things.
I mean, at least in the case of Smash, it's still the same game, so be appreciative of that. I mean, it's still the same mechanics in a sense that have always been part of the Smash franchise, so don't complain in that regard.
Now, as a little bit of, like, extra news that some people are going to be upset about, but when you think about it rationally, it's really no reason to be upset about, Best Buy Canada is claiming that you can unlock characters in Smash Ultimate by placing their amiibo on top of the NFC reader on a Pro Controller or on a Joy-Con. This is read on the Inkling amiibo, Ridley amiibo, and Wolf amiibos. Now, this is an alternate way to unlock the character, because there is no way they would only hide these characters by amiibo. That would be shooting themselves in the foot. And this is not pay to win, this is pay to unlock a character that's probably not even going to be top tier. Rationally speaking, these characters, Inklings might, Ridley might, who knows, but like, it's just another way to get them. There's no reason to complain. There's no reason to be upset. There is no legitimate reason for people to be mad about it. It's just an alternate way for people with money or people who have saved their amiibos from previous waves and launches to get characters early.
Not only that, but Nintendo has proven that they don't want to venture into this pay-to-win territory. We've seen this in other first-party games as well, where if you have the amiibo, you can unlock the character right away. If you don't have the amiibo, you can still unlock the character, but it's a bit more time-intensive. You have to go through completing, like, missions or side quests in the game. So, I mean, it's a time versus money thing. If you don't want to take the time, you just buy the amiibo, spend the 10-20 bucks, and then you can unlock it right away. But it doesn't really affect the game. It's not like they're saying, oh, you can only get this character if you spend an extra 30 bucks. No. So, just, again, step back and just get off your high horse and relax, people.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate that people have to be reminded to relax about, you know, a game that can be taken casually or competitively, because, yeah, it can be a competitive game, but for most, it's just going to be a casual experience. There's no reason to get uppity because they added in another feature that makes it easier. Like, just chill. There's so many other things that you guys could, or I say you guys, not as the audience, but as the people who are guilty of this. There's so many other things that they could be mad at. They could be mad at games that are actually bad. They could be mad at how one character is currently the dominant character of the Smash 4 meta. They could be mad at, like, anything else that's actually bad. Instead of, like, being angry and mad unnecessarily over something like this.
The times we live in, unfortunately. Anyway, I think that's an extensive look at Smash. We better move on. So, next up is something you're going to be talking about a lot, because I know it's one of your favorites, Persona Q2.
New Cinema Labyrinth! I am unbelievably excited for this! So, I am a recent Persona fan. My very first Persona game ever, my very first entry into the franchise, was Persona Q on the 3DS. Because when I first saw it, I had a broken 3DS, and I was looking for cheap games that I could play where I didn't need the R button. And I picked up from GameStop because it was like cheap. It was like a couple bucks, I think, at the time, or they had like a deal going on or whatever. I got a Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga, I think it was. Maybe, I can't remember. It was one of the 3DS games. And the guy who was working there, he showed me Persona Q and the trailer for it. And I was like, this looks really cool. I've never played Persona. I've never seen anything about it. But this looks really cool. I might give it a shot. And then I ended up getting the Persona Q game as well as the Persona Q Limited Edition 3DS. And I loved it. The dialogue in it was great, and the jokes were funny, the plot was really decent, the characters were great, I loved all of it. And then they showed off more stuff about Persona 5, I was really interested in that. I invested a lot of time into Persona 5. I still play it off and on, I'm still watching the anime. I actually have to catch up and watch recent episodes. And now they're showing stuff off for Persona Q2 where it's got a Persona 3 cast, a Persona 4 cast, and the cast for Persona 5, which is my favorite one. I'm unbelievably excited to see how all of these characters are gonna meet up, how the jokes are gonna go, how the plot's gonna be, and how everything's gonna play. Because it plays like an Etrian Odyssey game, which if you haven't played that, it's a turn-based RPG where you go through dungeons and you have to map out the map all by yourself, and it's really cool, and you have these elemental weaknesses and everything. It's really neat. And Persona Q2 is going to be that same way as Persona Q was, but they're going to advance on that formula even more, where everyone's got their own persona that they battle with, and there's all these elemental weaknesses and weapon weaknesses, and it's just going to be so cool. And the trailers that they've shown are really cool, even though I don't understand any of them because they're all in Japanese, because the game itself comes out in Japan in November. The English release date probably won't be until spring of 2019, if not then summer. And it looks to be really fun, and if you are a 3DS owner, and you love RPG games, this is a game that you can be super excited about, because you don't have to know anything about these characters going in. It'll teach you stuff about these characters going in. That's how I got into it, was I didn't know anything about the Persona 3 cast or the 4 cast. I just knew that one team had a blue-haired leader, the other one had a gray-haired leader. That's all I knew. And as I played it, I was like, these characters are really interesting. I wonder how they actually are. Then I started looking into their games, and I played some of it. I watched Persona 4 anime. I don't know a lot about Persona 3 because I can't readily play it, and there's not an actual anime for it. But like for the Persona 4 stuff, I was able to find out like that. And it's just the way that these characters are done, it's just really cool. And Persona Q, it's like it's a side game, is what it is. So it can afford to be jokey and not be too serious while still being relevant to the plot. compared to like their actual games. And if you like it, or if you like what you see, then check out the games that the characters are from. Persona 5 is a great way to jump into the series if you have a PS3 or a PS4.
You should ask Christina. She can translate some of that Japanese for you, and maybe you'll understand what's going on with the trailers there.
I might sometime, or I'll just stick to seeing the user-generated captions for it.
Alrighty.
But yeah, we're getting trailers through Twitter and YouTube, like, every week at this point. And in these trailers, they show off the, different types of all-out attacks. Like, there's one all-out attack that was added into the game where it takes the mascot characters of those games, and they're all attacking an enemy at once. Where it takes, like, the dog from Persona 3, the teddy bear from Persona 4, and the cat bus from Persona 5. It takes all of those, and they're all attacking at once together. It takes, like, the quote-unquote bro characters. They all have an all-out attack together. The protagonists will probably have an all-out attack together. And it's pretty cool. And if you have already played Persona, if you played the Persona games, and you played Persona 3 Portable, and have been really irritated with Atlas on how they've treated that female protagonist because she was only in that game and never included anywhere else, you can be really excited because they're actually putting her in this. So, like, Atlas is going really in with Persona Q2, and it's really cool how much they're going into it.
Sounds pretty extensive to me, and you said it's coming out in Japan later this year, right?
It is coming out in November of this year in Japan. We will probably see, like, an English localization release in spring 2019 or summer 2019.
Alright, so still a ways to go, but I'm sure Roxie will keep you guys updated on all the latest Persona news. Anything else you want to touch on before we continue here?
I don't think so.
Okay, alright, so keeping on the 3DS train, before we switch, no pun intended, back over to the Switch. So next up, Luigi's Mansion gets a release date, and no, I'm not talking about on the Switch, or the third version. You guys all know what we're talking about here.
The Luigi's Mansion remake for the 3DS is being released on October 12th, at the same time as The World Ends With You Final Remix, which is, for me, who's a big fan of both games, going to be very interesting watching the sales to see how both games compare side by side in terms of sales, because, you know, there's going to be one group who's only interested in Luigi's Mansion, there's going to be the other group who's only interested in The World Ends With You Final Remix, and then there's going to be a group that, you know, is probably going to have both people in it. So it's going to be interesting watching those sales and which game outsells the other. At least to me, I find that really interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at it. I sort of predicted that they were going to release it in October, with the whole Halloween theme and all that. So I'm not too surprised by the release date myself, and I think there are a couple of new features, like a boss mode, I think, compared to the original GameCube version. But do you think you'll be giving this one a playthrough?
Yes. I won't be able to play it on stream or on my channel, but I am definitely going to play through it, without a doubt.
If nothing else, you do need to play through it, just to give Luigi some airtime. I mean, especially after he got killed, right?
Luigi needs some love. Luigi just... Give your nearest Luigi a hug, you know? Everyone's got that one Luigi friend.
And cue the soft music in the background. Alright, so back into Switch information here. So I know we touched base on the Tennis Aces Switch bundle earlier. So if you don't already have a Switch and you like tennis, or you liked any previous Mario Tennis I should say any previous Mario Tennis title other than Ultra Smash, then yeah, I would suggest picking this up. Are you giving it a thumbs up too?
2 thumbs up.
Awesome. Okay, and we also talked about the Monster Hunter Generations title as well. So I guess the next thing to jump on here, sort of going into this in a little bit more in depth. The World Ends With You, we got the release date, same as Luigi's Mansion, like you just said there, October 12th, a Friday. So, are you preloading this?
No, because I'm not going to be able to have any money. But, I am definitely getting it for Christmas, because that's going to be when I'm going to be able to afford it. I'm 100% getting it, and if you are a fan of RPGs in general, they don't necessarily have to be turn-based, I would absolutely recommend The World Ends With You. It has such gripping characters and such an emotional plot with how these characters interact with each other that it is phenomenal. It is definitely a game worth picking up.
Speculation time then. So, this was originally released on the DS, right?
Yes, it was released on the DS initially. Then it was remade for cell phones a few years ago. I say a few years ago. It might be a bit more than few. Might be like 5-ish, maybe 6. But it was definitely released on mobile devices, like your typical Android and iPhone. And now, what I believe is they're taking that phone release and amping it up into a Switch port. They're not taking the 3DS necessarily, but they're taking the phone version and making it for the Switch.
So, on that note, are there any other DS titles that potentially you would like to see ported to the Switch as well?
Oh man, every Mega Man Star Force game I would love to see changed from the DS to Switch. Every single one. That would be Pegasus Leo, Dragon, Zerker X Ninja, Zerker X Saurian, Saurian X Ninja, Black Ace and Red Joker. Every single one.
That is what I figured. Roxie is like the biggest Mega Man fan ever, so I knew that was going to be his go-to here. But yeah, anything's possible. So if you guys like the original, or you want to delve into this for the first time, like I said, it's coming out in about a month, so we'll see how that plays. So next up, this one is another game that got delayed. I mean, I don't know what's with these delays here, but Dark Souls, originally scheduled to come out, I think it was in May, and then it was pushed back to summer, and now we finally have a release date, October 19th, which is a week after Luigi's Mansion and The World Ends With You.
It may be a week after, but it's still going to be overshadowed. Dark Souls Remastered is unfortunately being released underneath the shadow of The World Ends With You Final Remix and Luigi's Mansion. It's not going to get a lot of attention, especially since the other versions of Remastered are already out. And the PC version of Remastered is probably going to be a lot better than the Switch version. I think it's due to the nature of the Dark Souls devs, like, just now delving into Switch tech, and so it's going to take them a while to actually get it good.
Makes sense. Again, it's not my cup of tea specifically, but yeah, if you want to play Dark Souls on the go, this is probably your best bet, so stay tuned for that. And keeping up with the R-rated gameplay here, next, Diablo 3.
Diablo 3 is a game from Blizzard, which, if you don't know, they're a game company out in California. They are responsible for World of Warcraft, StarCraft, StarCraft 2, Hearthstone, Overwatch, and all the Diablo games. And it's super interesting to me to see Diablo 3 being released on the Switch. I'm not interested in Diablo, but I might pick it up at Christmas if I can. Like, it's gonna be one of those, I might get it. Because, like, it does seem neat as a game that you can play on the go. And the fact that Blizzard is teaming up with Nintendo to make that happen is just super, super cool. And it does lead to some questions about some of their other games. Like, I know I would be super interested in this if Overwatch came over to the Switch, which has been talked about time and time again, but never confirmed. Nothing was ever stated about it being worked on, but it has been said that it is possible. And with Diablo 3 from Blizzard being released on here, it just leads to more speculation and more hype for it, should it ever happen.
The thing that most interests me on this one is just the collaboration between Blizzard and Nintendo. I mean, putting aside the fact that I really didn't think Blizzard was going to release anything on the Switch, I think... Did I not read something where there was something involving Ganondorf?
Yes, if you pre-order the game, there's going to be like a Ganondorf outfit or something, and the outfit specifically is from Twilight Princess.
Wow. So I guess it's sort of similar to, I think it was Dark Souls with the Link shield in
Skyrim.
Skyrim, that's it.
If you had the Breath of the Wild Link amiibo, you would be able to play as Link in his Breath of the Wild outfit with the Master Sword.
Very unique. I don't know how they came up with that licensing agreement in particular, but...
I think it's that Nintendo recognizes that these games are popular, Blizzard recognizes that the Switch is popular, so in order to get Blizzard to agree to it, Nintendo is saying, hey, if you put this game on our console, we'll let you do add this cosmetic of this Nintendo character. Which is sort of like how, I guess how the Ubisoft Star Fox Easter egg happened in that Starlink game after the success of Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, like I said, I haven't put much thought into Diablo 3 myself. Do we have a release date on it?
I don't think we do, but I will double check just to be sure. Give me a moment. We currently do not have an official release date. No.
Well, I guess we're looking at late 2019 then, presumably.
Probably, or we'll see it we might see it at the end of this year around Christmas time, because we were shown actual gameplay with the the Ganondorf stuff and all of it. So we might see it around or we might see Diablo 3 Eternal Collection around Christmas time. If not then in 2019.
Alright then. So just another thing to keep tabs on, as we move on to our next subject here, a hat in time.
If you've ever played GameCube era Super Mario Sunshine, if you've ever played GameCube era games, and you like 3D platformers, such as Super Mario Sunshine, or Mario 64, or Super Mario Galaxy, any of those games, you will love A Hat in Time. The dialogue is great. The gameplay is fun. It's phenomenal. People can compare A Hat in Time's gameplay to Super Mario Odyssey. That's how similar the two played. It was so much fun. And it was originally going to be a Wii U game as well. It's on PS4, it was going to be on PC and Wii U, and I'm not sure about Xbox One. But the Wii U version ended up getting canned completely. And we were told time and again that, a Switch port of A Hat in Time will not happen. And then at Gamescom, we got a Switch port. We don't know when the release date is, but we know that it's being worked on, and the DLC will be like $5. And if you have it on PC, if you get on your computer like the day of the Seal the Deal DLC happens, you'll get it for free, which we may get for free with the Switch version. And with, co-op mode, it'll lead to a lot of fun. So, it's got, like, Paper Mario jokes in it. There's a straight-up Thousand-Year Door reference in A Hat in Time.
What? I heard Paper Mario, and all of a sudden my eyes lit up.
There's a reference to Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door in A Hat in Time, in one of its chapters. Like, it is a straight-up reference to it.
Do we have the exact line, or what?
I can pull it up. Hold on. Paper Mario. If I can spell Mario right. There. While I'm looking this up, there is a badge being released where it is related to, it's like a Nintendo 64 era badge where everything looks like Super Mario 64.
Wow.
So, the reference to Thousand Year Door is on the Murder Express, where one of the owls will say, "Wait, don't come in here. I lost my contact lens somewhere. Please don't step on it. I can't move out of the way. I might step on it myself." Which, who do we know from Thousand Year Door did that? A necessary thing involving getting to the west side of Rogueport.
Oh, yeah.
There's also the secret diary, where it's in a hidden room and you're required to know ground pound to get to it. So yeah, it's just really it's pretty cool. There's like so many GameCube era references in it too, and the characters are pretty cool. Like the Mafia boss, the Snatcher, Mustache Girl is kind of funny.
And you said we don't have a specific release date yet, right?
There is not a release date for the Switch version, but the PC version is out right now. And like I said, if you get it on the day that the Seal the Deal DLC comes out, which is specifically, it'll be, if I can find it here. Hold on. I will find it. September 13th. The PC release of this DLC is September 13th, and for that full 24 hours, it will be completely free to download. And what it includes, it includes a new world to go to. It includes a Death Wish mode, which is more challenging stages and bosses and time rifts. It gives you 6 brand new time rifts, as well as new custom hats, new the badge filter for the Nintendo 64 era, and as well as a co-op mode. Where it is a couch co-op mode, but by using certain programs like Parsec, you are able to take that that couch co-op mode and turn it into online co-op.
Wow. Okay, so definitely something to, again, keep an eye out, coming much further down the pipeline, but, yeah, if you guys, want to check it out, we will keep you updated on it. So what do we have next here, Roxie?
I believe we have you going on about Octopath Traveler this time.
Oh boy, here we go. Alright, so, I guess, I want to start off with your thoughts first. I know you haven't really had a chance to play the game, but just based off of what you've seen, what do you think of it?
I don't really have any other than it looks like a fun game. All my thoughts I said earlier, so this is your spotlight.
Alright, I guess. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I've been pretty picky in terms of which Switch titles I've actually purchased since March of last year. Only a handful that I've actually spent money on. First was Breath of the Wild, then it was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, third game was Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and since then, I really haven't bought any other Switch titles up until a month ago, when I actually purchased Octopath Traveler. I played the first demo that came out, and I played the second demo that came out after E3, and the second demo was pretty much what convinced me to spend the $60 on it. If you're looking for a turn-based RPG, a single-player, story-driven experience on the Switch, Octopath Traveler is the best option for that at the moment. I can't really say it any better than this news article that was released just a few days ago. Nintendo dominated July 2018 thanks to Switch and Octopath Traveler sales. That pretty much says it right then and there. Octopath has actually broken the 1 million units mark, even though the game hasn't been out for 2 months yet. So, clearly I'm not the only one who's been impressed with this. It's a classic turn-based RPG adventure. Reminds me personally a lot of the older Final Fantasy titles before they moved away from the turn-based combat there. But I really love this game. I mean, there are certain elements of it that I don't like. In the turn-based battles themselves, I really wish there was an HP bar under each of the enemies, instead of me having to waste a turn using Analyze every 5 or 10 turns, just to figure out how much HP the enemy has left. Especially when it comes to bosses, when they can have like 50,000 HP, and you're trying to keep track of how much more damage you need to inflict there. The other thing that I don't like is the pixelated art style. I know it's a throwback to the 80s, but I just am not a fan of it. But as far as the background graphics go, I think those are absolutely phenomenal. The music has got to be the best part of this game. When I'm playing this game, I am instantly reminded of Paper Mario. There's actually a couple of tracks related to, what was it? In the original N64 Paper Mario, was Shiver City and just the snowy area outside of that, near Shiver Mountain. The songs in Octopath Traveler's snow-filled areas as well almost exactly mimic those from the Paper Mario game that came out on the N64. it's probably the closest thing to an actual story-driven Paper Mario adventure, akin to, you know, the original Thousand Year Door Super Paper Mario. And that's probably why I was just instantly attracted into buying it. It's a more mature take on it, I will warn you guys. There is some profanity, there is alcohol, and there are some scenes which involve really R-rated things going on, so I don't want to jump into any of those details here. But for the most part, I mean, you've got a ton of puns, so I'm sure you'll love that, Roxie. The story is phenomenal, but I think the best part is the way the game is designed. You've got multiple save files, you've got an autosave function in place, you've got 32 chapters. I mean, can you imagine if you had a Paper Mario game with 32 chapters in it? But this game, it's extremely long. I'm 45 hours into it right now, and when on the save screen, it actually shows you a third digit for the hours mark. I think Square is expecting us to go up and above 100 hours for this thing. But yeah, I really love it, and I'm surprised in a way that Square was surprised by the sales, because initially when it came out back in July, there were stock shortages on Amazon. I guess they didn't think that many people were going to buy it, but it stayed as the #1 best-selling digital title on the Switch's eShop for what seems like over a month at the very least. And I hope there's a sequel, but other than that, I mean, I can't really complain. Voice acting is great as well. I mean, I love hearing those voices instead of just having to read all the text myself.
Sounds like a fun game. I definitely am interested in it. I can't really afford it, and it's on the backlist of games that I want to get. It's not at the top.
Yeah, I don't know if they are going to produce a sequel. I would hope so. I mean, just from everything that I've seen so far on how successful it's been, I don't see why Square wouldn't at least, you know, think of doing a sequel to this game. But, I mean, this is coming from some of the same people who worked on the Bravely Default and Bravely Second titles for the 3DS. So I can understand why it's very similar to those. But for the moment, I would say if you are a turn-based fan, Octopath Traveler has got to be very high up, if not the #1 title that you absolutely have to purchase right now for your Switch. And the best part of too, on top of this, is that all the content is already included in the game. So there's no DLC, you're not buying anything separately, you just pay for the game, and you've got everything included from the get-go, and it's a long one, I will admit it. You will be putting in tens, if not hundreds, of hours into this game, but I am sure you are going to enjoy it.
I'm certainly interested in it, and I hope other people are too. I know a lot of other friends I've had are saying like great things, and they love it, even trying to compete with each other on who can get more done in a day. So like, there's a lot of things that can be done with it, which is really interesting.
Yeah, this one, like I said, it came out of the blue for me personally, similar to Rabbids Kingdom Battle. When I first saw it, I did not think I would be picking this up at all, but as the demos came out, as the additional trailers came out, I gave it a try, and sort of stepped outside of my comfort zone in picking it up, but I am more than happy I did, and at least for the moment, this should keep me busy into well past, I want to say, October at the very least.
Alright.
Okay, so next up, we've got Hollow Knight.
It's specifically the Godmaster DLC just came out for it. If you are interested, then... If you are interested in what we talked about with Hollow Knight earlier, check out the Godmaster DLC. I wouldn't know about it, but it's there.
Okay, simple and quick. Next on the list, something that I didn't really know about at all until you brought this up to me earlier. Something to do with comics on the Switch?
Yeah, so in November, an app for the Switch called Inky Pen Comics. It is a subscription-based comic type thing. Will be released probably, to be added with their online, with Nintendo's online subscription, where you can read like different comics on your Switch on the go. And I wanted to bring it up because I found it very interesting. I didn't have a lot to say about it, but I just found the concept of this like comic, or the subscription-based comic reading app to be on the Switch. I found that very interesting and very weird, given that the Switch hasn't really been marketed for something like that at all. Because, we still don't even have like Netflix or Hulu or YouTube on the thing. We only have Hulu. And so for them to just skip like big names like Netflix and YouTube, and to just go in with like only Hulu and a comic book app, it seems like a leap here that none of us really expected.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. It sort of goes back to consistency thing with Nintendo. They like to do things out of order and out of the ordinary. But who knows? I mean, maybe this is the start of something bigger down the road. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on it. Next, we want to talk a little bit more into the R-rated stuff again. Why do we keep coming back to this? Doom Eternal?
Yes, the new Doom game. So, if you guys like Doom 2016 and saw it on Switch, or I say Doom 2016, that's the colloquial term. The Doom 2016 port for the Switch, if you saw that, you'll see that Doom Eternal was announced at E3, I believe, but I think it was announced at during Bethesda's. I think that's who came out with Doom. I'm not sure, so don't crucify me. I'm not the biggest Doom fan. It's being released on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and just to have another Doom title, even though the first Doom is sort of like spotty in performance, coming out to Switch, that to me shows that these companies are willing to work with what we have on the Switch to make their games sort of fit and play better engine-wise. Yeah, it's not going to be graphically the most beautiful out there, but it's still Doom. It's still the new Doom game on the go. You can't say that with a PS4, PC, or Xbox One.
I'm a little bit surprised by it. I mean, not in the sense that I couldn't see this coming, but just in the sense of seeing all of these third-party developers who have, in many cases, never even bothered to at least attempt porting their games over to a Nintendo console. I'm now starting to really embrace the Switch, especially heading into 2019, 2020. That has to say something. I mean, Nintendo coming out with this portable home hybrid console, they must see something out of it too, because otherwise they wouldn't be spending the time and money doing this.
if they see results, then it's pretty cool. If they're more than willing to do it, then that's awesome.
Okay, so that brings us to another topic relating to the Switch, and we've got some more information on the online service.
The Nintendo Switch online service will be coming finally after delay after delay after delay to, it'll be coming to us during the second half of September. Which means if you play Mario Kart, Smash, or whatever games you use online, you will start having to pay for online.
Yeah, there was actually a reminder on the Splatoon 2 boards about a week ago, just telling players that even with the constant updates coming out for Splatoon 2, at the end of September, you know, make sure that you've got the online service set up, otherwise you will not be playing online with it for much longer. Same goes for Mario Tennis Aces. I would assume Super Mario Party, and like we mentioned before, probably guaranteed for Smash as well. And we know it's guaranteed for Let's Go, although why, I'm not sure. But yeah, are you going to be getting this right from the get-go?
I'm not buying it directly. Some friends in a Discord group were all pitching in, like, we're all gonna have, like, our Switches linked together through that family membership. So, my group will be able to have that online feature.
Awesome. I'm just waiting for the day that they actually release some N64 titles, and Paper Mario better be one of them. Or even GameCube titles, because Thousand Year Door is definitely going to be a must-play again for me.
I care more about the GameCube games over the 64 games. We already know, if you've been, like, interested in the modding scene, that the Nintendo Switch can play GameCube games. We know that for sure. It is 100% capable of doing it. Nintendo just has to market it.
Yeah, it's up to the big N, and we'll see where that comes. But, for the moment, at least we know that in a little less than a month, we'll have some type of online functionality that's hopefully better than what we've got right now.
Now, as a reminder, the prices for paying online for Switch aren't bad at all. If you have, like, you can go with the quote-unquote family membership, where you and 7 other Nintendo Switch owners can have online access for $35 USD for a full year. Now, if it's just yourself, I think it's $25 for a full year, or for like 6 months, it's like $7.99, and then for I think 3 months, either 3 months or a month, it's like $5. So you shouldn't feel like you're getting ripped off compared to Sony and Microsoft, seeing as they're making you pay $60 for a full year compared to $20 or $25.
I guess the other thing we should mention too, just to remind everyone, not all games require the online service in order to play online multiplayer. I mean, obviously the first-party titles are pretty much guaranteed to use it, but as far as the third-party titles, I think it's still up in the air depending on the developers of the games and what they want to do with them. The other thing I also want to remind everyone of, too, is that by default, the service will not be automatically enrolled on your Switches. So, if you don't want to pay for it, you don't have to. If you do decide to pay for it, and you link either a credit card or PayPal account to your Switch, then every time the subscription renews, it'll automatically just charge the same payment method after that fact. But anything else you want to mention on this point?
No, not really. Enjoy the classic NES games that you get to play with online.
Alright, perfect. Okay, so we'll get into our last topic of the night, and then we'll wrap things up here. So, just a bit of news. We've got the sales figures out for the Switch for July of 2018. Top 5 best-selling titles. Anything that you think will fall into this list before I read them off?
Not a clue.
Alright, so number 1, the title that sold the most in July was, as you guessed it, Octopath Traveler. In second place, Mario Kart 8. Third, Breath of the Wild. Kind of surprising considering it's been out for a while now, but still up there. After that, we have Odyssey. And rounding out the top 5, Mario Tennis Aces. Your thoughts?
I'm not surprised about Octopath, but I will say this. As time progresses, Octopath is going to fall off in sales. It's going to hit hard right at the beginning and then slowly start to fall. Whereas other games will start to take its place, like Tennis Aces, Odyssey, Mario Kart, and Breath of the Wild. They're all going to like take that place as other indie games start to push Octopath out of the line of sight, basically.
Makes sense. I mean, especially in terms of the replayability factor. You look at games like Mario Kart and Aces and Smash, and these are games that you're always going to want to go back to for the multiplayer, whereas Octopath, once you've put in your 60 or 80 or 100 hours and beaten everything, I don't think you want to do it again.
Well, you say that, but it's a Square Enix RPG, and it's gonna, knowing Square, people are gonna want to replay their RPGs time and time and time again. People have 100% Kingdom Hearts games, and they still go back to it. People do it with Paper Mario, they do it all the time. So it's not, there is that replayability that people will just keep replaying these RPGs just to see the funny jokes. That's what I do with Paper Mario, is I'll finish all that I want, and then replay it later. RPGs are totally replayable, it's just they don't offer that, like, full-on, different every time replayability that you get with, the things like Mario Kart, because that's all, like, your items in that are random, and there's no real thing to not make it replayable.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, so I think that does it for our topics for tonight. Any last things you want to touch base on before we end off for another edition of GameView?
I believe I read somewhere that there is a possible Nintendo Direct coming in the month of September, so keep your eyes out for any news regarding that. But other than that, no.
Alright, I had a feeling that would happen. Generally, Nintendo tries to spread out their directs throughout the year, as we know, but considering the somewhat mixed reaction of the E3 presentation, I wouldn't be surprised to have at least something out in September, just talking about maybe what'll come out in 2019, or maybe surprise us with something, get us into talking about the next big thing here. I guess on my end, not really anything else that I want to talk about. I think we pretty much covered all the details here, so other than that, I guess we will call it a night. A bit of a more extended version of GameView than normal, just because we've had a lot to cover over the past couple of months, but we will keep our eyes peeled for the Direct, and we will be out again next month, talking about the latest in Nintendo news. Any last words of wisdom?
Not really words of wisdom, but if you want to see more of me, you can check me out over at the Jester's Room. I do stuff with my buddy Travis, and I stream over at twitch.tv/The Jester's Room. And if you like Overwatch stuff, keep your eyes peeled in the upcoming weeks for a Overwatch-related podcast that me and a few other friends are doing that I will be editing and uploading in a few weeks.
And that's it, we're done for tonight. Remember, you can get the latest announcements and updates on your favorite TOONDISE programs by visiting the all-new TOONDISE.com. Also follow us on Twitter at TOONDISE, #GameView. And if you enjoy what we're doing, you can show your support on patreon.com/TOONDISE, and also by hitting that like button. Until next time, I'm Scott.
And I'm Roxy.
We'll see you later.